Okay, so we are on. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy you're all here, and I've been so excited about this all day, and I'm just really delighted that there's a club of us who are so into this esoteric instrument, at least in this part of the world. It's pretty out there. So just a few little housekeeping notes before we get started. So welcome to Zoom. You are able to unmute yourself. So throughout the class, after I give my little opening spiel here, I'd love to just go around and hear a brief blurb from everybody. And there is also a chat if you kind of look at the bottom. So if you, and there's a drop down that you can put, to everyone. So if you have questions, like if I'm talking and you're muted, and you're welcome to just type something in the chat. I'd love for questions to go there. And then even if we don't get to them tonight, we can revisit them in the future. Okay, awesome. So let's just do a little introductions. Just a brief little blurb. I'd love, part of this idea of club is like, I'm not, this is as much a co-creation with all of you, and I'm excited to hear from all of you, and for us all to collaborate together and put our smart brains together and create some magic and fill in the holes in our information and just really help one another with our skills and experience that we have. So I know you all very well, but in case anyone watches this at some point and doesn't know me very well, I'm Britta, and I've been playing the CharanGO for, I think it's been a little over 5 years now. And I just love it so much, and I trust that you all do too, which is why we're all here together. So I'll just say briefly that, I'm really humbled to be offering this, because I feel that there's so much to learn, right? I know we're all musicians here, and so there's so much to learn with any type of craft and skill and art form, and certainly music is no exception to that. So I really wanted to offer this out of the fact that such a good group of people were asking me for tips and lessons, and could I teach them this song or that strumming thing. And so I just figured, let's make it easy. Let's all meet in one place at once, and record the videos, and that way we can all go back. If new people come on, they can go back and watch from the beginning, and we'll just co-create it together and see what happens. Oh, we have somebody else wanting to come in, so I'm gonna bring her on in. So that is my brief blurb. Welcome, Melissa. Hi, I'm so happy you're here, just joining us. So I have everyone muted right now. I just gave a little spiel about me, and what I'd love to do is just pass the torch, and you all have the ability to unmute yourself. Maybe I'll just call on people to make it easy so that we streamline this process. And I'd love for people to just share, 30, 60 seconds, tell us your name, where you are, and what brought you to the CharanGO, and why you're here with us. And maybe Tina, you can start for us, my love.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tina, and I'm in Austin, Texas. I guess I first heard the CharanGO in 2011, my first ceremony, and I always likened it to if my heart really had strings, and what being strummed on, and the emotions that flow from that. And it's just always been such a precious instrument that I wanted to have my own, and I finally acquired one in 2016. And like many of my other instruments, it sometimes has been neglected, and so I've been wanting to pick it up and practice more, and yeah, learn chords, learn and more than what I already know, preferably. But yeah, I'm happy to be here with all of you. Thanks, Britta, for joining us together, bringing us together.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then maybe lovely Karen can go. I'll go ahead and unmute you, so that's easy. Hi, Karen.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen. I'm in San Diego. And I have a long-standing obsession with Pia. It's just probably one of the first places that I developed this love of the charango, and then hearing Ben and Britta play it, just every time I do, I'm like, oh, I definitely need to learn that instrument. And last year I got a bee in my bonnet, decided I needed to go to Peru, and it would only be complete if I traveled down there with a charango in hand to play with in the jungle. And so that's what happened. But my musical pursuits are rather varied, and yeah, I love the idea of accountability and this shared group, and just something that keeps me with it, because it's just not intuitive to play it at this point. And so I'm super excited, and I'm excited to have an easy opportunity to get some of those questions answered, because that's the thing that I would get stuck on, like, this chord is impossible, forget it, I'll play something that's easier. So
Awesome.
so thank you, Britta. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen. Awesome. Okay, and I'm gonna grab Brother Ryan.
All right, I think I'm unmuted. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. So long-time charango listener, first-time charango player.
No. Can you all hear him? No, I can't. No, we can't hear you, Ryan.
Just move on from me.
Okay. Love you. Okay. I'm going to grab Danielle.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Danielle, and I'm in Northern California. I love the charango, and starting it off and on, and yeah, I've mostly taught myself what I know through ukulele tutorial videos on YouTube. So that's kind of the extent of my playing, other than a couple little lessons here and there from Britta. So yeah, that's
Awesome.
the story.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. And Melissa, I'm going to unmute you.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I am currently in Costa Rica at Finca Mia, and was excited to bring my charango down here. Yeah, it's relatively new to me. I've only had it for a few months, and I've always wanted to learn a stringed instrument, and I love the portability of the charango, but also just the beautiful sound. And I have a friend that plays amazingly well, but he's not super local, and I don't know really anything right now. So I'm excited to have this again for the accountability and just being able to ask questions, and it's really exciting. So thank you so much, Britta, for offering this.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Melissa. I was really excited to have you with us. Yeah. And that you're in Finca Mia. That's perfect. I mean, I think everybody here is, you know, we're all connected through the medicine community. So
I had a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I was actually telling one of my clients that today. I'm like, the only people who know this instrument are the people who are in
Right.
the medicine community, and then people who actually live or have lived in South America. So,
Right.
yeah, awesome. Okay, and then we've got Brother Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
So I don't know anything either, but it's just I grew up as a kid listening to some Peruvian music, which I really enjoyed, and I like the celestial vibe of it. It's like super high Andes to me, like the high mountains, very close to the sky, and it's very touching to me that way. But I don't know anything how to play it. It's like I wouldn't mind learning a few things.
Yeah, awesome. Yay. Well, thank you, and thank you, everyone. I'm so delighted that we're all here together. So let's jump in. So this is class 1, and I am gonna just start with some super basics. And we can always return to this stuff later. And I know some of us, this is gonna be like, yeah. But I feel like it's important to build a good foundation. So again, there's the message situation. So if you want to ask a question, you can do that. And you all can unmute yourself. So at any time too, if you have a pressing question, feel free to just unmute yourself. So I wanted to start and just talk about basic tools for the CharanGO that are helpful in terms of, having this instrument, caring for this instrument. So a couple of the things that you'll want to have is a tuner, right? So tuners, this is a Snark, is the brand, and I like these. They last, they're good, they're great. But whatever, just find it. Basically with all this stuff, it's like, make sure you have stuff that you like, because in general I find that if I don't like something, if it's hard to use, I end up not using it. So it's worth getting like a tuner that you really like, a capo that you really like, a case that you really like, things that make sense. So this is a capo, and most of you know what this is. For anyone who doesn't know what this is, a capo basically goes over the fretboard and it clamps on to the back, and it acts as like a bar cord, and it basically moves the end of the fretboard up. So how that would be handy is if you were, let's say you went to play a song that was in A minor, and let's say this is your A minor, and let's say that you have a really high voice, or let's say you just want to sing A minor higher than this. So then you could use your capo, and let's say you did a capo on 1, or even we'll start with a capo on 2, so it's really noticeable. So you would pretend like the capo is the end of the fretboard, and then you would just play your same chords. A minor's up here, so it's really helpful for finding where your voice is comfortable with different songs. So yeah, capos are handy to have. There's different shapes, there's different kinds. I will say that, a CharanGO has a wider fretboard than definitely than a uke, or even than some guitars. So you want to make sure that you get don't assume that all capos are going to be wide enough for your CharanGO. So make sure that you get one that will go across all of the strings. I'll also just mention that what I've noticed over the years is that higher end CharanGOs capo better. So, if you start moving up to like capo 5, and this is a fairly nice CharanGO, but you might, once you start playing chords, you might find that certain chords don't sound as good, or like the tuning doesn't hold as well. So just something to be aware of. hopefully it will work out. And, you know, I don't use capos that much, but when they're handy, besides being able to move up and down with your voice, they're also really handy for playing with other people. So once you start getting familiar, and like in ceremony, for instance, there's so many songs that lots of us know. And let's say, you know, I'm playing a song with Ben and he plays the song on, you know, with a capo on too. So I can't play the song with him unless I also have a capo on too. So having a capo is also really handy if you're going to be playing with other people. Strings. So at some point, I'll send everyone a picture of the strings, the brand of strings that I like. But in general, I found that the white or kind of clearish strings are much better quality than black strings. So if your instrument has black strings, or if you end up accidentally ordering black strings, I really recommend the white ones. And just, you know, with strings, it's really worth paying a little more for nice strings, because then they'll hold up better, they won't break as fast, things like that. A strap, your CharanGO may or may not have a strap. Now that I have one with a strap, it's like just a dream come true. So if at some point you can get a strap put on your CharanGO, I highly recommend it. They can, you know, music shops can usually put like a little button, you know, on the end and then on the back, so that you can put a strap on there. So I recommend that. Yeah, this is a flat back CharanGO. Most CharanGOs classically have a rounder back, and I find that they're pretty swirly. So it actually is really helpful to get a strap on there if you can. And then the last thing is just having a case or a bag. And I used to have a soft bag, which I liked. Now I have a hard case, which I also like, except that my case doesn't stay closed, which I don't like. So again, you know, with all these things, I know this is super basic, but it's just worth making sure that you've got like the good quality stuff that you like, so that you don't, you know, just be like, and get irritated with it and throw it off in a corner. Oh, Ryan's trying to come back in. Okay. Cool. So those are kind of all the basic tools. And then we'll go over a couple of like best practices for CharanGO. Maybe I'll just pause there and see if anyone has a question. Anyone have a question on basic tools? No? Okay, we're good. Okay. Obvious, I know, but you know, we gotta just start basic. So how to hold your CharanGO. So generally you want to hold it, you want it to be, you know, fairly close and fairly horizontal on your body. I used to play my CharanGO kind of like this, again, because I just found it to be really squirrely. But what that did was it led me to have some bad behaviors in terms of like building habits that just weren't technically correct. So hence why the strap is really handy if you can get one, so that you can, you know, or just practice holding it down like this. And also like this, you can really, you can relax, you know, your wrists more. And that's something that I have learned, and I hear a lot, is just that you really want your wrists to be relaxed. So that's kind of the placement of it on your body. In terms of finger placement, again, this kind of starts, and this is with, I think, all stringed instruments. So probably some of us know this from playing other instruments too, but in general, when you're playing chords, you want your, you know, first index finger is on the first fret, and second finger is on the second fret, and third and fourth, and so on. So in other words, you know, this, for instance, is a C chord. It's the second string up from the bottom, three frets in. And you don't want to play the C chord with your pointer finger. I mean, you could, because it's just one finger, but it's just not a good habit to get in, because then when you go to switch to another chord, there's more moving than is necessary. So that's a very quick note on finger placement. We're gonna do a lot with chords, and what I'll just say briefly is that there's the full chord, and then there's the cheat chord. And I am so into the cheat chord. Like, I am not mad at the cheat chord. And this is the book that I got when I first got my CharanGO. Some of you might have this book. The chords in here, I mean, you know, if you practiced them, yeah, sure, you could totally build up to it. But there are things in here that I just try with my fingers, and I'm like, no, like, I don't know if that's for a man's hand, but like, my hand just doesn't, my fingers are not long enough. So I found that the cheat chords are very helpful. And also, when I first learned this instrument, I actually was in, a couple months after I got it, I went to Peru, and some of you know Arturo Mena, and I had a number of lessons with him. And he taught me some cheat chords without even telling me that they were cheat chords. So it was like a while before I was like, what? Everyone doesn't play a D like this? This is D. And then they're like, no. And then I looked in the book. I'm like, wow, that's not a D. Okay, cool. So so we'll go over variations, but just so you know, there are full chords and there are cheat chords, and really, you know, you get to play what sounds good to you. So, you know, for instance, an E minor technically is 1, 2, 3, all three of these strings in a diagonal line. That's the full E minor. I like it better without the middle finger. It's like just a little bit, I don't know, maybe not quite as bright. I just like it better. So I really never play the E minor with that middle finger. But you can, and you know, do you. So really just the thing there is that as we go through chords, just be aware that you can always make adjustments depending on, you know, what you like and what sounds good to you. And again, really the exception to that is like when you're playing with other people, if you're playing a different chord and you're playing the same song and then your chord sounds weird, you know, that's something to be aware of. So nails, fingernails, versus finger flesh. I was actually just reading about this in this book today, and I was like, oh, they put that really well. This, like, of course, they put words to something that I've been like thinking about for a long time. So essentially, best practices are to keep your left finger nails pretty short, so that you can easily hit the chords, because otherwise your nails are going to get in the way. And then on your right hand, you've basically got two options when you play, and you can either play with the flesh of your finger, and mostly for me that's my thumb and my, you know, pointer finger. So it's a much softer, rounder sound. You can definitely be more quiet with it, which is why mostly this is what I've done, because mostly the application that I play this instrument in is in ceremony. So, but traditionally how they play is with the pointer fingernail is pretty much the main tool. So the difference is that's the thumb, that's the fingernail. So it's much sharper. It's much louder than like, so there's not a right or a wrong, but it's great to practice with both, and it's great to kind of play with those dynamics of volume so that you can, you know, pull it back when you want to, and you can play with subtlety. And then when you're in a scenario where you want to play louder or that's appropriate, then you can totally rock the fingernail. And actually, I'll just share too that I've been playing with like the flesh of my fingers for so long that I'm actually just retraining myself now to play with my fingernails. So it's good practice to just do both from the beginning. And then this is very obvious, but just wanted to encourage everyone that if you don't have a place out in your home for your charango, I highly recommend that you keep it out. So you can either, you know, you can hang it, like string up a little string and hang it on your wall, or you can get one of those, you know, hangy-madoodles, or I have like this little tiny little guitar stand that I use for this, which is nice too because it's portable, so I can bring this to ceremonies too, which is nice. But I really recommend, I mean, I notice for myself, when I put it away, it's totally out of sight, out of mind. And then when I have it out, like in a space where I hang out all the time, then it encourages me to pick it up. And even if I've got 10 minutes, I can pick it up and play. Okay, great question. Paul's asking, what is the standard tuning? So standard tuning is, it's the same as a ukulele, except there's an extra string on the bottom. So it's G, C, E, A, E. So you've got two sets of the E's. The middle E has a low and a high octave. And then the bottom E's are the same. So G, C, E, A, E. And that is the standard tuning. And I don't know if there are other tunings. You know, with guitar, I know that there's different, there are different tunings, but also with guitar, it's not like you can tune it to say, like Ben's been playing with something called Dadgad, which is D-A-D-G-A-D. So that when you strum it, it's open, it makes a chord, which usually guitars don't do. But charango already has that. It's already open tuning. Like this is, without doing anything, it's a version of an A minor. Yeah, so as far as I know, A minor is the open tuning, and the G, C, E, A, E is the standard. And I don't know if there are more, but if people find out, I'd love to hear about it. And that brings me to the last kind of best practices is, which Dee touched on, which is that if you want to research chords, either like how do you play a D literally, or if you say like, oh, I want to learn, oh, I don't know. Okay, I'm working on De Colores right now, which some of you know. So that's a Spanish song, which I tried to learn years ago, but I abandoned it. So now I'm relearning it. So if you wanted to look up, like, how do I play De Colores? How I typically do it is I just get online and then I look up ukulele chords, De Colores. And I find that the ukulele chords, I mean, without even the fingering, they'll give you the chord progression that will be pretty much applicable to the charango. Guitar, I mean, you'd think that all the chords would always be the same, but even if the fingering's different, but I don't actually think they are. So in general, that's how I do it, is when I want to look up any song, you know, it can be a folk song, it can be a pop song, it can be whatever. You can just Google, you know, the name of the song and then uke or ukulele chords, and you'll get it. It is good to note that even though the top 4 strings are the same as a uke, there are, with the addition of this bottom string, it does change the chordings. So you can't always look at like the ukulele chord and assume that it's gonna translate exactly to charango. You can always try it, and a lot of them, like C, is the same. It's one finger. it's on that same string. You know, the charango has those extra strings, but a C is a C. And even if you went on a uke, you know, you could play it, which is another thing I actually love about charango, is that once you learn to play charango, or if you know how to play ukulele, they really play well. They talk well together. You'll be able to pick up one or the other and kind of fiddle your way and be able to play songs that you already know on the other one. Great. And then the very last thing that I'll say is that years ago I went to McCabe's where Ryan just was, and I had them show me how to restring, how to replace the strings. And they did, and I took a video. So I'm going to find that video and then share that with you all, because it's really important to know how to replace the strings on your instrument, and it's very empowering to be able to do it yourself and not have to go to the store and have them do it for you. So I will share that video. It's fairly easy, and we can talk about that later. Okay, great. So I'll pause there. Again, are there any questions on any of that? No, okay, fabulous. Okay. So what I'd love to teach tonight, what I'd love to do, basically my plan for these is just to teach a few things, and then perhaps a song that we can send everyone on with to practice, and then have a little time at the end for like Q&A, just in case, you know, anything's coming up. So, and I also want to say with the Q&A, you know, if you have anything to add to my answer, or if I don't have an answer and you have an answer, please, by all means, chime in. So we'll be working with some chord progressions, and I'll just start tonight by giving, you know, maybe 3 really basic, simple, easy chords that are in many, many songs, because it's really helpful to have that. And I can tell you that if you're interested in playing in kind of the medicine setting too, I find that a lot of the medicine songs just use the same chords. So, and probably just songs in general use the same chords because they're good. So, so the first most basic hallelujah chord is the A minor, and the A minor is the top string, 2nd fret in. So you play it officially with your 2nd finger, and that's really all it is. It's just that one finger, which is also why it's great, because it's super basic and super simple. There is an add-on that is an additional, so if you looked in the chord book, and again, I do, you know, if you want to get into it, this is a great book, and I'll also scan this chord chart and I'll just send it to you all so that you have it. But I'll show you that in this chord chart, so here's the A minor, and there's the black circle around that string, and then there's a white outline of a circle around another string. And anytime you see that, the white outline means optional. So it means like you can do it or not do it. So for the A minor, the basic A minor is just that top string, or if you want to add the pinky, the pinky goes on the bottom string, 5th fret. So you can hear that versus, so that's with the pinky and without the pinky. So that's a nice little option. And I will also say that I find that just practicing, this is a really good chord to practice pinky on and pinky off. And this is something that I watched Ben do. Like, I actually told him when I started this club, I was like, you could probably do a much better job than me of teaching this CharanGO club. But I watch him all the time. He's really good with his pinky. Like he uses his pinky a lot just on this bottom string to like, you know, and you'd be amazed at how much just a little, you know, adds. And you can also play around like the 3rd fret on the bottom string. Also sounds really nice. So just playing that A minor, and then you can add the pinky on the 5th fret, and then pinky on the 3rd fret. So that's just, you know, playing, but you can see how even just that, like you could make a song out of that, just that chord, like moving the pinky on and off, and then you could take your finger off of the A minor, and of course that's also a chord. It's another variation of A minor. So open, so that's A minor, and that's a great one. How I usually, you know, when I'm learning a song, I won't even really mess with the pinky initially. I'll just kind of learn it with the one finger. And then later on, maybe I'll play with adding in the pinky, or I'll kind of start to experiment with it. So that is the A minor. Another super basic chord is the C, which I had mentioned already. It's the, sorry, hi Melissa. Sorry, I need to change this so that people can just enter. Okay. Okay, so that's the A minor top string. You can add the pinky on the 5th fret or the 3rd fret. And then another super basic chord is the C, and that is your ring finger on the 2nd string up from the bottom, 3rd fret in. So this is a great chord. It's in so many songs. I mean, both of these chords are just in so many songs. And so these are 2 basic chords, and obviously that's all there is to it. It's really easy to play. There's no like optional add-on for the C, that's just the C. But you could just practice, you know, going back and forth between C and A minor. And in fact, I can think of 2 songs right now where that's pretty much the whole song. Paul plays one that's really great. I'm learning to play it too. And then you could also just throw in that pinky even in the C. Yeah, so we got A minor and we got C, and with both of those, you can just play with throwing your pinky on that bottom string on either the 3rd or the 5th fret. And that's pretty easy to do with the hands, and it flows really nicely between those 2. And then the 3rd chord that I find is in so many songs is an F. And so the F technically in the book is like something totally absurd like this, which again, my finger just doesn't even do, I can't, yeah. But fortunately there is a cheat F. And when I first learned the F, all Arturo told me was just your pointer finger on the middle string, 1st fret. That's all he told me. He's like, that's an F. Only he speaks Spanish, so however you say that. But then I found that you also can put the bottom string down. So you've got the 1st string from the bottom and middle string on the 1st fret. And actually that's much closer to the true chord. And You can hear the difference just raising the bottom string. And that's another nice one that you can play with. Like when you're playing a song that has an F, you can just sort of and you've also got that pinky that could reach over to the third. So there's all of that to play with. But that's a great cheat chord, F, super easy. So those three chords together, A minor, C, and F, are really good ones to know. And brings up the term of a chord progression. So those are all chords, and this might be terribly obvious, but a chord progression is essentially chords in a certain order. So it's really just, you know, let's say we're going to play a song that starts on A minor and then goes to F and then goes to C and then back to F and then to C and then back to A minor. So that would be the chord progression. And I'm bringing this up because as you learn chords, it's really fun to just make it your mission to find chord progressions that you really like. And like writing a song or a little ditty can just be as simple as, ooh, those sound really nice together. You know, you just go back and forth and then you add something else at some point. Like there's certain songs, like there's a song I love that starts on an A and then it goes into E minor. And I just love A into E minor. It just like rocks my soul. So you'll find things like that where it's just like, oh, that chord and then that chord and then that other chord, just like Tina was saying, it's just like, oh, that just strums my heartstrings. So it's really good when you find something like that, you know, write it down, jot it down, record it, because you might have the beginning of a song, or maybe it's already in a song you love, but you can just milk it or make a new song out of it. So yeah, I think those are the three basic chords that we'll start with tonight, and just encourage you to play with those progressions, see if like maybe you find that there's a specific order that you really like, and you can play with adding that pinky in on the 3rd and 5th fret, really with all three of those chords, which is fun. And then I will close that with teaching a really simple song that is technically an Icaro, I suppose. But I love it because it doesn't have any, you know, medicine words in it. So you can also, you know, kind of take it with you into your life. You can play it in different settings. It's kind of just like a lullaby vibe. And it's just those three chords. So the song, which probably we've all heard many times, is called Vuela, Vuela, which in Spanish means fly, fly, fly. And it's a bird song. So bonus is that it also is a song where you can learn some vocabulary, and you can look up all the birds that you love that are hanging out in your yard, and you can look up what they're called in Spanish, and then you can learn them, which is fun. So it's one of the reasons that I love bird songs. Like Ben and I just, we have so many wrens around here, and we just learned, recently I just started singing to the wren, which in Spanish is re suelo, re suelo. So it's fun, you know, it's fun. So I'll just play it for you all. and then I'll kind of tell you, break it down a little bit. So it starts on A minor. Vuela, vuela, re, suelo. 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 So that's all it is. It's really repetitive. So I'll go over the progression. So I'll talk it through. So it starts on the A minor. Playing A minor, and then you go to F and then C, and then back to F and then C, and then up to A minor, and then back to the C, and then back to the A minor, and then back to the C, and then you could add that pinky, and then back to the A minor. Yeah, so it's a nice flow because you kind of go A minor, F, C, F, C, A minor, C, A minor, C, A minor, C. And you can kind of go back and forth however much you want with that. So what I will do also is I'll record like a 5-minute version of that, and I'll share that so that you can, if you would like, so you can hear kind of more, a longer example of the flow of that song. Yeah, so that's Vuela Vuela, and it's really one of my favorite songs. I love it so much, and I sing it on several instruments, and it's very versatile. So that's another reason why it's great, because if you do play guitar, it works on guitar. If you've got one of those beautiful sansulas, you can play it on the sansula. If you've got, you know, some singing bowls or whatever, or you just want to sing it a cappella, I mean, Don Jose sings it with a rattle, you know, and it's got a totally different vibe. So the way I sing it is more, it's more major, I guess you would say, even though it's not really major, but it's more major than the way he sings it. He sings it, his version is a little bit darker and more like, whoa, which is great. Different application. So I think I'll pause there for tonight and open it up. And does anyone have any questions? Okay, wait, there's a couple questions here. Would you share what the E minor fingering is again? Yes. So E minor, the full version is, it starts on the 2nd fret on the 2nd string up from the bottom, and it's a straight diagonal line. So it's 2nd string up, 2nd fret, and then 3rd string up, 3rd fret, and then 4th string up, 4th fret. And that's the full version, and I usually play it without the middle finger myself. And that's a great one to know. Really good one to know, good one to practice. That's also in a lot of songs. And if you're like me, I just tend to gravitate toward minor chords. So I really like being super comfortable with the E minor and the A minor. And we'll talk more in the future about like looking at the fretboard, but this is a really good one to practice over and over and over and over so that eventually you can land it even without looking at the fretboard. Yeah, so that's the E minor. And then D wanted to know the cheat version of a D. Hey. Yes, so the full version of the D, I think, is second fret, middle, and then the 2 above it. So basically the top 3 strings. Actually, the full version might even have one more. Oh yeah, the full version has those and the bottom. Yeah, it's nice. The way that I was taught it, so you can definitely take off that pinky. And the way I was taught it, you can take off the very top finger. So you just have your middle and ring finger down on 2nd fret, 2nd and 3rd string from the top. And D is such a nice chord. It's really lovely, and it's actually not in as many songs. So I find that when there is a D, it's just lovely. Like it's, you know, it's not one of the like really uber popular chords. So if you can start to throw a D in there, it just, yeah, it switches it up. Totally different sound. Yeah, there's a song that I really like that goes from C and then, yeah, so it's a nice chord. Yeah, cool. So we went over A minor, F, C, E minor, and D, and some variations on all of those. And then, yes, Paul, chord progression for Vuela again. Yeah, so I'll talk it through again. So it starts on A minor, and then it goes F, C, and that's kind of a quick transition. So I'll do that again. So the A minor is really just like before you even start, really even before you start singing. It's kind of just like the foundation of the song. And then once you go into Vuela, you go straight to the F. So Vuela, I guess the first Vuela is still on the A minor. Vuela, vuela, blah, 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 blah. Vuela, vuela, aguilita. Yeah, so you start on the A minor and I guess the very first Vuela. Vuela, vuela, aguilita. Vuela, vuela, aguilita. Yeah, so A minor into the F, C, and then repeating F, C, and then up to A minor. Vuela, vuela, aguilita, and then back to C. Vuela, vuela, aguilita, and then back. Vuela, vuela, aguilita, and then vuela, vuela, aguilita. Vuela, vuela, aguilita. And then I usually stay there and vuela, vuela, aguilita to end it out. Yeah.
Okay, I still don't have the second part.
Okay.
So it's like,
yeah.
I get it like vuela, vuela, da 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 da.
Okay.
Da, da. And then da 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 da.
Yeah. So one trick, because I was teaching Ryan this and I noticed that this was a little trick. So you don't go back to the A minor the first time. So that's one thing. So vuela, vuela, so A minor, F, C, F, C. And then from there you hang out on the C. C, vuela, vuela, aguilita.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then it's vuela, vuela, aguilita, and then again the same.
Vuela, vuela,
aguilita. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. That's a good question because na 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 na, and then you hang out there. Da 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 Yeah. Any other questions for tonight? Future questions, requests, anything? Sharesies?
I know this is super random, but do you have a cheat for C sharp minor?
Girl, I don't even know what that is.
Okay, no worries.
C sharp minor.
It's barred, and it's, yeah. I'm working, I have the same chord chart that you're looking at.
Bar chord.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and tell you all that bar chords are hard.
Right.
And especially charango. So charangos have they have a wide neck and they have 10 strings. So it's harder to bar a charango than it is to bar a guitar, and way harder than to bar a ukulele, because there's many more strings and it's longer. So I literally am just working on bar chords now after 5 years, and it's because my old one had a really high action on the fretboard, and it was very frustrating. But there are a B minor is a bar chord. It's totally worth it, but it's one of those, it would probably be good if I had one of those hand muscle builder things, because I feel it. My wrist, I can feel how tense my wrist is doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can avoid bar chords when you're starting.
Oh, for sure. That's why I was hoping maybe you had some sort of sneaky
Oh,
trick.
like a cheat. Yeah, no, totally not.
Okay.
No, I don't. I mean, there's not, for most bar chords, I don't think they're really.
Okay.
I mean, unless there's just a different version of it. The only real cheat would be to do, let's say, this is the bar chord, if you could hold down 3 of the strings and then you just didn't play the top strings. That would be an example of trying to cheat a bar, but it's kind of tricky.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry for the random, but thank you.
No worries. No. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
Okay.
Any others?
Well, I'm just so happy you did that song. I love it so much, and I love how you sing it so much. And it's always touched me so much, and I'm so happy to be able to learn it now. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you, that beautiful song that you played, Paul, that I am working on also.
Yes,
There's
I'd love
a
to hear
really
what you
great
did.
song called Sen Sen Re Re. And wow, it's so magical. Some of you might know it. And it's A minor and C. That's all it is. A minor and C, the whole song. And it's so magical. I mean, when you listen to the version on YouTube, you're like, what? So yeah, Paul did I need to keep working on it because it's really good. But her strumming, actually, that's a really good, I'll send that one out just as inspiration, because her strumming, even though it's A minor C, it's there's some, something like that. It's an arpeggio. Something like that. But that's a great example of too how just and we'll get into that arpeggio, but how much that can add to just playing 2 chords. You can make something that is apparently really boring really not boring, and really challenging and fun. So yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna unmute everybody, and just so we can hear each other, we say adieu. Thanks for being here. Maybe we can just go around and you can just tell us one thing, like your takeaway, your gem takeaway from this Basics 101 class.
I'm excited to have some chords that I can practice because I didn't have any of those. So now to work on a song, that's huge.
Me too.
Me three.
I'm looking forward to going back and looking at alternate fingerings for chords, because I'm realizing that I've been playing chords differently, like different versions sometimes, or sometimes with different fingers on different strings. So just playing around with that and trying to relearn some things.
Excellent.
I'm just happy to pick it up because I don't pick it up that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Karen?
Yeah, no, I love sort of just like backing up in the foundation. Like, didn't occur to me that I would need to change strings at some point. That was good information. You know? Yeah, yeah, it's just awesome. It's awesome. And the accents, like the little accidentals to the chords, that's super fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
How often do you change your strings?
Not often. I mean, really out of necessity. I used to have a string that broke a lot, like the same string. There was just something kind of funky. Yeah, it can happen. Which in that case, it's actually really good. If you've got a music store who sells strings, you can always ask them, like, if they've got spares of like the E strings.
I bought some in Peru last
Oh,
week.
excellent.
So I haven't replaced it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really good to know how to change your strings for sure. And I mean, I haven't had to change these. I guess this instrument's not that old. I got it in March or April, and I haven't had to change these yet. And hopefully I won't for some time. Yeah. So I don't think you have to change them as often as guitar strings. But I'm not really sure, actually.
Are the strings like specific to CharanGO?
Yeah.
But they're sold, they're readily available at local stores here, or do you have to go to a special store?
Well, if you've got like a good music store available, like I used to buy them at McCabe's in Santa Monica. But now I would probably just order them online because I know what kind of strings I like.
Yes, and you wanted to send us to us. That would be good to see.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of the package. And yeah, those are good strings. So it's totally worth it. And when you order them, like I always just order a couple packets so that I have them. And if a string breaks, I don't have to like wait 2 weeks or something. I can just do it.
This part looks like a nightmare here. You have to really, really small fingers to like.
You know, it's really not. Yeah, it's really not.
Okay.
It's actually easier than it looks. The thing that makes changing strings easier, actually, that would be, I mean, it's not really a basic tool. It's more of like a pro basic tool, but you can get, and some of you have probably seen these, but they're little, they fit on the tuning knobs, and they come off, and they have a lever. So
Gotcha.
you can like, because the thing that takes the longest is like,
That's right.
and you know, there's 10 of these. So that's like the most monotonous thing, is like turning, I'm turning, and 15 minutes later, I'm still turning and turning and turning. And with the knob, you know, you just like, and it goes way faster. So,
Cool.
and they're like plastic, you know, they're cheap, and so that would be worth getting maybe at some point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, dear ones, thank you all so much for being here. This is really fun. I'm just delighted about this whole thing, and
Thanks for starting.
yeah. If anything comes up too, if you ever think of requests, like if there's a specific song that you want to learn and you're having a hard time, or if there's just anything that you want to know, just shoot me an email. Or I also started a Facebook group, and I know we're not all super active on Facebook all the time, but I do find that Facebook groups are nice for things like this, because inevitably we have the same questions. So if you've got a question and you ask it there, it's nice because multiple of us can chip in on the answer. And then or it's a great place, like we could share that, you know, that Sensenare video, for instance, on YouTube. So it's a really good place to, like, here's this amazing song. So that's also a resource I wanted to mention. And I'm also going to start a Spotify playlist and share it with us. And I thought maybe we could collaborate and have like a collaborative CharanGO club inspirations playlist. Because
awesome.
it's fun to have songs that just inspire you. And yeah.
How does that work?
Some of them are like, I'm never going to play that ever. That's just majorly amazing. But other ones are just like, oh, that's a sweet little riff. Like, I wonder if I can figure that out. So
how does that work on Spotify? It's like, I mean, how do we share?
Paul. It's magic.
Yeah, but how do we share? I mean, I don't understand.
I know.
Like if you make the list, then how do I add to it?
All will be revealed.
Okay, excited.
Okay. Love to you all. Have a beautiful night. Melissa, have such a good time in Costa Rica.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you all next month, and hopefully in the Facebook group before that. So much love. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Love to everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Tina.
Bye.